day, good day. How you going? What do you know? Don't strike a light. Good day, good day. And how you going? Just say good day, good day, good day, and you'll be right.
Welcome to the Midweek End Times News and Trends Briefing as we share major events and what is happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. Today's date is January 10th, 2018. I'm going to keep this update kind of brief due to a back injury I got yesterday, and I'm struggling to move around and to breathe, but I wanted to keep you updated and some interesting developments in what's going on. And it's been a while since I've done these midweek updates, and I always have the right intentions in doing it, but something always happens. Anyways, interesting news out of the Jerusalem Post. Syrian army claims Israeli struck targets near Damascus in overnight raids. And this is something that we're going to probably continue to see on an ongoing basis. And I do believe, like I mentioned on this last weekend's update, that there will be the destruction of Damascus. It's a matter of time, whether it's the Israelis or some other sort of form of destruction that happens there in Damascus. But I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Israelis knock out Damascus because of all the weapons that are being stored in that area. But the Israeli Air Force struck the Syrian military positions east of Damascus in a series of overnight raids, the Syrian army said on Tuesday. According to a statement from the Syrian state news agency, Israeli jets flying inside the Lebanese airspace fired several missiles toward the area around 2:40 in the morning, causing damage near the military site. And so the regime's Air Force defenses intercepted the missiles and hit one of the planes. So we're going to see more of these sort of things, and this is one of those prophecies out of Isaiah 17 to pay attention to what happens to Damascus. It will become a heap of ruins. It's just a matter of time for that to happen. But we're seeing these sort of raids on a more frequent basis. Also, in dealing with that region, interesting article that came out of the Jerusalem Post, not surprising to see this, but Palestinian Authority paid terrorists nearly $350 million in 2017. So they paid these terrorists and their families what they said about $347 million last year, according to its own records. And so the average income of a Palestinian is around $580 per month, which is what the Palestinians pay terrorists who sentenced to 3 to 5 years in prison. So they pay their families while in prison. So they're supporting terrorism. So we've reported on those before, but this it's sad to see how much money's going into paying for these terrorists instead of providing money for the infrastructure and rebuilding of their facilities and things like that, and providing food and shelter and homes for their own people. But they're paying for terrorism. Anyways, this is a major problem, especially if you're trying to work out a peace deal. There's another article that's talking about the peace deal out of the Jerusalem Post, how forging ahead, Trump's team, confident in its peace plan, appeals to Palestinians. So in the aftermath of the decision when Trump made about Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, the Palestinian leaders began dismissing the Trump administration as a serious mediator, if you will, of the peace plan. Top officials in the West Wing and nearby executive office building made a decision that they would proceed with a flurry of scheduled interagencies meetings, their plan for Middle East peace, as if nothing changed. The White House peace team labored for a year to build a delicate trust with the Palestinians, comprised of virtually overnight by a series of dramatic decisions made by the president himself. Trump's Jerusalem move came on the heels of the U.S. threatening the Palestinian Authority with closure of its Washington offices, and now the temperamental commander-in-chief was tweeting threats of cutting aid unless Ramallah began showing him some respect. And again, dealing with the Palestinians is always going to be problematic. They're always trying to push their agenda. They're always wanting to not recognize not only Israel as the state, but they want to take over the land. They want Jerusalem as its capital. But you also see their hatred toward Israel and the Jews. On the heels of this, there's several other reports in dealing with the Palestinian state. The Israeli National News talks about how the Arab League foreign ministers on Saturday discussed U.S. President recognition of Jerusalem as its capital. And in the meeting, Jordanian foreign minister said that there will be no security in the region without the establishment of a Palestinian state. All of our decisions will be made in accordance with the interest of the Palestinians. Also out of Herzet mentions the Arab League to lobby UN to recognize the Palestinian state within East Jerusalem as capital. So what you're going to see here is the world is going to be pandering to the Palestinians who are racist, they're intolerant toward Israel, and that are pushing terrorism to push this agenda. But the world, as we see, they're siding with the Palestinians. They're okay with that sort of attitude and mentality. And this is what makes peace very difficult when you have one side that is trying to annihilate the other. You're not going to have peace there unless the Palestinians do recognize Israel as a state and Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And they're not going to have their hatred. They're not going to continue to destroy the land or the people with terrorism. Then you could probably have a possibility of having a chance of a peace plan. So it will be interesting how this peace plan works itself out with the Israelis and the Palestinians. It's really up to them, not the world, and how this is to be negotiated. But this is something for us to be paying attention to. And then lastly, on some other interesting news items, there's a severe flu that brings medicine shortages, packed ERs, and a rising death toll in California. This report came out of the LA Times that many people have fallen sick with influenza in California. Pharmacies have run out of flu medicines. Emergency rooms are packed, and the death toll rising is higher than previous years. Health officials said on Friday that 27 people younger than 65 have died of the flu in California since October, compared to 3 at the same time last year. Nationwide and in California, the flu activity spiked sharply in late December and continues to grow. The emergency room at LA Medical Center in Santa Monica typically treats about 140 patients a day, but at least one day this past week there's 200 patients, mostly because of the flu, said the ER medical doctor. So we're going to see, especially in the end times, there's going to be a lot more sicknesses. There's going to be a lot more pestilences and diseases and all kinds of other health issues. We've seen that over the past several years. Some of the other different sicknesses arise and diseases. We're going to see all kinds of other natural disasters and destruction. I know it's not a positive thing to be talking about or thinking about, but it's something that the end times that we're living in. And we're getting closer and closer to the Lord's return. So keep your eyes on Jesus, stay in the Word, be watchful and alert and informed of what's happening around the world. Amen. And that concludes today's update.